Okay, man. So it looks like Jakeem Grant and this injury going to be significant. Now, a lot of you guys who watch this channel, or maybe you're just dropping by, might be wondering what is the big deal with the Jakeem Grant injury, right? You know, you look at him, fourth string wide receiver, wasn't really going to be that impactful there in the kick returner, and punt returner, and yeah. And we can see the play that he injured his knee on, by the way. Well, not knee, his Achilles on over here. Wow, my cat decides to get all the attention in the world. Shout out to her. I was gone for a while, so she missed me. But here we go. Right, this is the play where Jakeem Grant got hurt. Shout out to Mary Kay for the video. Appears to be a non-contact. Again, it looks like a non-contact Achilles injury is what this has been reported as, or it's feared to be an Achilles injury. It's not good. And it's likely that he's going to be out for the year. So, I mean, one sucks for Jakeem Grant, right? I mean, he was hoping to have somewhat of a breakout here. He is, I think he's 27, so he's at that age where if he gets an Achilles, oh man, like it could be a wrap for his career, especially since he's what he's listed at 5'7". He looks significantly smaller than 5'7" when I was there at camp. And, you know, he's really there because of his quickness and his explosiveness. And what do we know about the Achilles injury is that it really does hamper your ability to be quick and explosive. And he's 29. So, first and foremost, my sympathy goes to the player in this situation because at 29, as a well-known explosive player, a guy who is having a great camp so far, and at a pivotal point in his career to get an Achilles injury. I mean, it could be. It's not good. It's not good for him at all. It's not good for his career. I really hope, because I like Jakeem Grant as a person, that this is not what it's feared to be. Hopefully, it's a calf injury. But if it's an Achilles injury, I mean, Olivier Vernon ain't played since, right? Like, you know, you can be Grant Delpit and get that Achilles injury when you're 22, 21 years old, and you'll be relatively okay because at that age, your body's just able to recover from these things after surgery better. But at 29, I mean, it wouldn't be a miracle if he came back and was the same dude next year or a year from now. But it also ain't likely. So, you know, I want to make sure that that is known before I talk about the impact that that's going to have on the roster. Girls moving everything. So that's just that, right? It sucks for Jakeem. It's awful for him. I really hope this isn't it for the dude. He's a hardworking guy, loved by his teammates, smiles all the time. Would really suck. Would really, really suck if this is how his career ended. And I don't want to be dramatic here, but a torn Achilles at age 29 for a guy who's in the league based off his quickness, I mean, that could end your career. I'm just not going to be naive about that. But hopefully, this is not going to be what happens for him. Hopefully, he comes back. Hopefully, it's not severe. Fingers crossed for that. Knocking on wood for him. Now, let's talk about the impact that this has on the roster, because this has a tremendous impact on the Cleveland Browns roster. It's kind of like, and I compared it to the Chris Hubbard injury last year, where, look, he's not going to be a household name to everybody. He's not necessarily a starter, but this is an injury that really depletes what little depth you had at wide receiver and on special teams. Let's start here. To replace what Jakeem Grant was responsible for this team, there were three roles Jakeem Grant, I think he was expected to play on this offense. I know there's some people who don't have any expectations for him as a wide receiver. I think they're wrong on that. I think if you watch camp, I think if you listen to Kevin Stefanski talk about Jakeem Grant, it was obvious they were going to use him as a wide receiver. So the people saying that he wasn't even a wide receiver for real, they're not right in my opinion. I don't think that's a correct summation of the situation. He was going to be used as a wide receiver. He was going to have not a starting role, but a significant role in the offense. I think people are fooling themselves when they say otherwise. But let's talk about this. And, you know, people bring up his height, why he want to be used as a wide receiver. Remember, this is a Shanahan-style offense. Think about the wide receiver heights of Shanahan's wide receivers. Not impressive, right? Andrew Hawkins, 5'8", 5'10". Taylor Gabriel, 5'7". It does not an offense that requires a ton of height. But nonetheless, let's talk about the roles, right? There are three: kick return, punt return, and a gadget wide receiver is what I call the position. An occasional X receiver that could take the top off of defense, theoretically with his speed and quickness, and catch some deep crosses, and an end around guy. Those are three roles that are now empty. You have one guy that's suitable to take over one role, and it might be the least important of all the roles, and that's kick return, right? Kick return is probably the least important because one, kick returns just don't get returned that much anymore, and two, it's really hard to turn the ball over as a kick returner. It's really hard to do it. You have to be very incompetent, and the Browns have a competent player that can do that in D'Ernest Johnson, so he can return kicks off kickoffs. Doesn't mean he's a punt returner. Two different skill sets there, right? The only two guys you have on the team that have punt return experience, I believe, are Donovan Peoples-Jones, who we'll talk about why I don't think he's going to get that role, and Demetric Felton, who's probably going to get that role. Here's the problem with both of those options. Demetric was bad last year at punt return, and he muffed up 4 punts. Most guys don't get an opportunity to get back on punt team after they've muffed 4 punts. He didn't lose any of them, but it doesn't matter. You can't muff 4. So he muffed 4. I don't think they're eager to get him back in punt return. Donovan Peoples-Jones. Now, he's not terrible, but here's what makes him a terrible choice for the position. And forgive me, I'm being a bit blunt here, but Donovan Peoples-Jones is kind of known for making some incredible plays and having some gigantic mental mistakes. Absolutely can't have that at punt return, right? We have seen Donovan Peoples-Jones do things at punt return when he was there for an extended period of time that make you very nervous, right? And I'm not talking about the one play where he ran back into the end zone, tried to catch the ball and bat it out, even though that was risky because he could have just like not. People defend that play to all end, but all I know is he never punt returned again after that. They went with Demetric for the rest of the year. That's not even necessarily what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like where he catches the ball, when, in what part of the field. Sometimes he catches the ball for like 5 seconds of hang time. He makes some mistakes there at punt return that are kind of deadly. So maybe Demetric takes a step in year 2, but Demetric wasn't very good again. 4-month punts, I believe he had last year. So not a great option there. And then we go to X wide receiver. Gadget guy. And that's where, the guy that's going to have to replace him is Anthony Schwartz. And I know a lot of people want to believe in Anthony Schwartz. A lot of people who do believe in Anthony Schwartz know, I'm not the biggest. I'm not buying Anthony Schwartz stock. Y'all know this about me. I wasn't a fan of the pick to begin with. I'll be transparent. I wasn't a fan of the pick to begin with. And I haven't been a fan of what I've seen so far of him. I don't think he's a good gadget guy because while he's very fast, he's not somebody who's especially quick. And I think to be an end-around gadget guy, I think quickness matters more than just long speed. He could be a deep threat, but again, that quickness matters because he's not just going to run a straight go all the time. He's going to be asked to make a cut at some point in his route, and he's not very good at that. So, and then there's catching. Haven't been a consistent catcher of the ball at Auburn, not set at the NFL yet. So not a great option there, right? Jakeem was really a solid option for all three, an above average option for 2, and a very good option for 1. when it comes to punt kick returns and being the gadget guy. And you lost all three of those spots. And you have to replace them with guys who are very unproven, one, and what they have proven hasn't been positive in those spots, too. So not a great situation here. I'm not trying to like ring panic bells or say that the Browns are going to win like 4 games now. I'm not saying anything ridiculous like that. Just because the tone of this video is not overwhelmingly positive doesn't mean I'm negative on the team overall. But I do want to say that this injury is more significant, not just for the player in his future, which is most important, but also for the team this year. This is going to have an impact, a significant one, and not just in kick and punt returns, on the offensive side of the ball as well. I think Jakeem was wearing a lot of hats, and from what I saw at camp, he was wearing them really well. And now he might be out, so it's very unfortunate. I feel greatly for Jakeem Grant. I mean, this is just awful news for him. And it's awful news for the team, because they're teammates of him, and also this ain't gonna help them win any football games, obviously. So, best of luck to Jakeem in his recovery process. I really hope this is not an Achilles injury. I really do. Just for I don't even care if he ever plays for the Browns. Just for his own career, and his own future. An Achilles injury at 29 is just tough. It really is. And it's especially tough when your whole game is predicated on your ability to be explosive. And with the Achilles injury, it destroys your ability to be explosive. I just really hope for Jakeem that that's not the case. But we will see what this is going forward. Everybody have a good day. Have a great night. Hopefully tomorrow brings some good news. I don't know where it would come from, but hopefully there is some good news, because there has been a decent string of bad news for Browns fans and for the Cleveland Browns, period, in the last few weeks here. So we'll see what happens. A lot of injury at wide receivers. I know one of the questions were, hey, do the Browns bring in a wide receiver? I don't know if they bring in a wide receiver. Honestly, I don't think that's the most important question here, right? Because Anthony Schwartz is there, and they do believe in him, and they drafted him in the 3rd round. So that's probably who they're going to put in that position anyways. The question is, do they bring in another specialist, specifically a punt return specialist? That's what to watch. Whatever position that guy plays, it's whatever position that guy plays, but they're going to need somebody to return punts, because both of the options they have here, I don't think are options they want to go with going forward. But that's it for this video for real. Y'all have a great day. Have a good night.